red zone. Spyder CFL red zone rules real cool. And a real jewel. A high-powered offensive tool. That's a super exciting new CFL rule. Red zone. Not a dead zone. That's not old school. A super exciting new CFL rule. That rules. That rules. Spyder CFL red zone rule is real cool. That rules. And a real jewel. That rules. High-powered offensive tool. That rules. That's a super exciting new CFL rule. That rules. Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder, CFL's red zone rule. Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder, CFL's red zone rule. Want to hear you loud and clear. It's 2019 and the CFL game live in the 107th Grey Cup in Calgary. Chanting loud in the red zone. Want to hear you. We want Spyders, CFL's red zone rule. Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder, CFL's red zone rule. Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder, CFL's red zone rule. In the red zone. Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder, CFL's red zone rule. Want to hear you chanting loud at a live game, a CFL game in 2019 at the 107th Grey Cup, chanting loud in the red zone. We want Spyder, CFL's red zone rule. We want Spyder, CFL's red zone rule. Hit it! Wow, unbelievable. Lots of fun, eh? Okay, we're going to get right into it, okay? I got all kinds of stuff happening here to make that happen. Okay, I just want to say in my last session that I made a couple mistakes. I always do the corrections first. When I said 107th Grey Cup in Edmonton, I meant to say, of course, 106th. And when I said I said easy chop field goal. Never said that in my life. It's easy chip shot field goal. As you see, live and well, okay? Live and kick, like we're, live and on fire, like my song, okay? As you see the fire logs up there. Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll. Proposed new CFL Red Zone Roll banner that's going to be changed to Spyder's CFL Red Zone Roll. And, by the way, see this? Okay, Mr. Armitage, you're going to be very happy, okay? Because you said from now on it should be Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll. And that's what I'm going to have from now on. And I'm also going to have a banner, new banner, okay? So take a look at the new hats, right? I haven't even worn it yet. Just got them yesterday. What do you think? Okay, looks pretty cool. The Spyder's logo is bigger and looks pretty cool, right? Okay. Anyway, I hope you heard that. this is going to be my 13th, 14th session, and I got to get moving here because I don't have a lot of time to get this all in. So I'm superstitious when it comes to 13, even though I like Andrew Calvil's 13th number, but we'll make it 13/14, Spyder's short version of your song. You heard, by the way, that's going to be my Radio Blitz song, and that's going to be up on Facebook as well. As my son's still working on Facebook, but we should have it ready and to go, and then we'll add to it in a couple weeks. Okay, so this is the 6 fixed changes for CFL to compete and survive, and a word for the commissioner. Okay, so before I get into that, I just wanted to say that, you know, I'm not, I don't want you to gang up on me because I'm not a bad person here. You know, I just want you to understand my point of view, and I've taken some shots at Mr. Ambrosi, deservedly so, as far as I'm concerned. But he took, you know, what they did to me was very demeaning, degrading, disingenuous, and you know, it was really humiliating, very manipulative. And the timelines prove that, and how he handled my CFL Red Zone rule, okay, and my presentation I made, and you look at the timelines, and it was definitely a setup from the beginning, like my son said. So yeah, by the way, if you would have done what I've done for 3.5 year survey I did, and 4.5 years I worked on my CFL Red Zone rule as hard as I did, and made a presentation like that to the commission of the CFL on January 31st, 2018, and that's what they did to you and to my CFL Red Zone rule, and that was you that came up with my CFL Red Zone rule and worked that hard on like I did. I don't think you'd be a fan of the CFL or Mr. Ambrosi as well, and I think you'd be firing back and fighting back as well. So I don't listen. If you like Mr. Ambrosi, I respect that, you know, but you know, also respect my point of view as well. Okay. So anyway, let's get into the 6. I'm just going to list them, then I'm going to get into something, okay, right away. Okay, so first of all, the 6 fixed changes the CFL they need to compete and survive in today's highly competitive sports world. Okay, first of all, their branding and their marketing. It's got to be way, way better than it is. It's brutal, and it needs a huge improvement. Like unbelievably, you know, they have to really change. It's brutal. It's the worst. You see the new Alliance Football League. Look at their branding already. It's just like the NFL. Number 2, of course, is the huge problematic handcuffing, dictating guaranteed Canadian starter and huge guaranteed Canadian starter ratios problem. That is clearly not selling CFL 3-down football, and obviously doesn't work in today's highly competitive sports world and leagues, and needs to go in order for the CFL, like every other professional sports team, including MLS soccer, to finally allow the best available players to start and play at every position for entire CFL 3-down game. And number 3, of course, the Canadian Players Association monopoly needs to go. That needs to change. Because they decide with their association, okay, made up carefully selected old linemen and Canadian players, okay, the presidents of guaranteed Canadian ratio linemen, they decide with their Canadian ratio, okay, who plays and starts in the CFL. Come on, that has to change. That can't be. The coaches and the owners got to decide who starts and plays in the CFL. Number 4, the CFL needs, of course, the 10th team in Halifax, and you know, but the right model stadium, which is not happening right now, because we could have the Lobster Bowl is the Labor Day Classic, and the Rose Bowl, that, by the way, is a great name for the Ottawa Montreal. Okay, so we could have multiple Labor Day Classics. Okay, and they need to also, part of the marketing and branding and the rematches, they got to come up with bowl names like Banjo Bowl for all the rematches. Okay, and there should be all rematches the next week. Okay, so number 5. Of course, eliminate the non-committing, embarrassing, only 1-year contracts. It's insane. You know, how do you sell a jersey? How do you sell your brand of football? How does the coach and GM ever get any continuity and build a team? Well, they don't. Okay, and by the way, the NFL window's got to go too. Okay, because the CFL's labored, and it is a feeder league, minor league, second, you know, rate image. Okay, that has to change. Okay, so that's number 5. I'm surprised we're down number 5 already. And of course, the most important one, number 6, Spyder's combo. And that's, okay, it's pretty simple. To eliminate, okay, you know, what my CFL red zone rule will do. So to CFL, to make my CFL red zone rule part of a CFL 3-down game, to eliminate all the undesirable second down stops in the red zone and all the distasteful, non-eventful, predictable, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone. The 2 biggest killers and turnoffs of a CFL 3-down game that my CFL red zone rule will completely eliminate. And of course with the combo / eliminate the Canadian starter ratio, okay? The dictating, handcuffing Canadian starter ratio, and dramatically reduce the guaranteed Canadian roster ratio, okay? It's not about a Canadian passport, okay? And about a Canadian ratio, Canadian players and Canadian Players Association and Mr. Ambrosi. It's about growing our game with the best available players playing at every position, okay, for entire CFL game, okay, and with the best, most exciting, most entertaining rule, and most innovative rule, and most powerful and impactful rule that's going to make our CFL 3-down game a lot better and a lot more entertaining, a lot more exciting brand of CFL 3-down football to watch and be part of. And there's only one rule that can do that, and that's Spyder's CFL red zone rule. Okay, now we're going to play the waggle, okay, of the show that Randy Ambrosi was on. You got to hear it. Okay, Mr. Ambrosi, competition makes our 3-down game better, okay? Because you get the best available players playing in the CFL. It's not happening now with the Canadian ratio, Mr. Ambrosi.
Best athletes in the world will show up so that they can perform against the best of the best. That's what great athletes aspire to, is to apply their skills and talents against the best of the best. And when you introduce more talent into your ecosystem, it tends to have the most amazing effect of raising the standard of play and ultimately helping athletes raise their own standard of play. Playing against better players, playing against better competition is good for sports. It's really at the heart of what sports is all about. And so, you know, we will find a way to work with the Players Association, I'm confident of this, to create opportunities for everyone to play the game. It's one of the reasons why I want to open doors for Canadian athletes to play outside of the Canadian Football League. Not everyone's career will be marked by their success in the CFL. Is some of these athletes who love our game, careers will be marked by their success in countries like Germany or Austria or Denmark or Sweden or Mexico. And that's a good thing for those athletes. So my goal is to just create more room for more players. To find room for great players from around the world to play our game. Because ultimately what do CFL fans really want? They want to see great players play the game of football. They want to see the most talented athletes that we can find playing the game and entertaining them the way we have for decades. And Donovan, the last part of the answer is that we have seen participation rates in football decline in Canada. I know a recent report suggests that we've gone from 180,000 players playing football in Canada to 100,000. You look at in university arena, you see York University is now down to only 3 high school teams in its area that are playing football. We are in a position now where we need to find more players to play football. We need to grow our game, so we're hoping, Donovan, that the excitement and enthusiasm that we can create around more international opportunities will attract more kids to come and play our game and ultimately grow the participation rates in our country. It's why we're working on things like flag football and other initiatives. But we have seen a decline in the number of kids that are playing football in Canada. So you can't stick your head in the sand and pretend that that trend isn't there. You have to find a way to continue to supply great players for our league. And we hope that in doing it the way we're planning, that we're not only creating more opportunities, but we're going to ultimately grow the game and make the game better and stronger for all contenders. So again, that's a long answer, but hey, I'm respectful of the idea that we need to make sure there's always room for Canadian players in our great game. And I love the guys. I mean, I'm one of them, for goodness sakes. But at the same time, I know that we've got to ignore the big global trend and isolate the Canadian Football League into a place where it can have the kind of success that the rest of the world that sports has found. Yeah,
So, you hear what he said. There's a lot of contradictions there, but I'll give him credit, you know, and I don't hold grudges either, you know. I mean, if he woke up one day and said, realize Spyders, man, his CFL Red Zone rule, I made a huge mistake on that. That's a dynamic, fantastic, phenomenal new CFL Red Zone rule, that my CFL Red Zone rule, that's going to make our CFL 3-down game a lot better, a lot more entertaining, a lot more exciting brand CFL 3-down football to watch. And he called me and apologized. I'd accept his apology, but only if he adopt my CFL Red Zone rule, because it's that powerful, like Steve Armstrong says, who adopted it. I mean, he endorsed it, but sorry, and he gave it the stamp of approval. When you have somebody that powerful, Steve Armstrong, 27 Grey Cups behind my CFL Red Zone rule, big time. You know you have something big. So, Mr. Ambrosi, come on. Steve Armstrong's just behind it, stamped to prove it. Okay, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with the CFL? Do you want to make our CFL 3-down game better? You want to grow our game? And by the way, a lot of what you said are all contradictions here. But I'll give you credit where credit's due. If you make changes, necessary changes, and you get rid of the Canadian starter ratio, but I can't see it happening when you are one of them. Okay? And you belong to the Canadian Players Association and fought the CFL in court against the Canadian ratio. So, like, you know, prove me wrong. You know, prove me wrong and I'll give you credit, okay? But there's a lot of contradictions there because the Canadian ratio is a big problem. Everything he said, it's what's standing in his way is the guaranteed Canadian starter ratio, okay? And the huge guaranteed Canadian roster ratio. That doesn't allow the best available players to start and play at every position for an entire CFL game, like every other professional sports league, including MLS soccer. So get with the program, Mr. Ambrosi. You're saying a lot, but you're not doing anything, okay? Let's go back.
As an example of how international attention is favored to grow the league. As an English soccer fan, I'm sad to say that, you know, sometimes the English players didn't necessarily develop in that league because of the international team struggled, whereas in leagues like La Liga and the Bundesliga, they've kept the domestic player in that league, and thus the national team has flourished. I say all that to say, I know you've given a lot of thought to this, what is the best application of some of the international players into what the CFL already does? We have around 18, I believe, coming to the combine spring. Would you like to see them be part of their own ratio? Would you like to see them have their own international draft or part of the Canadian draft that will be evaluated alongside Canadians? What's the best way to do this kind of on the run forward? Well, in part, the answer lies in talking to our players and working with them on a solution. And so, you know, I'm always mindful, Donovan, that this isn't a dictatorship. You know, we've got to work with our players to explore those things. But what I do know is this. There is an answer to how to best do this, and we've got to find a way to get the best players we can find playing our game. That's no less than the commitment we should have to our fans and our reinvigorating football in our biggest market to make our game more exciting and and more interesting to fans in our big cities like Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal, as well as of course the rest of our cities. So I don't have a pat answer, and I think there is a bit of a trial and error. I should point out that interestingly enough, in England, in the Premier League, that in 1996, when the 20 teams that had broken away from what was the EFL, the English Football League, those players, the 20 teams that broke away, that they, at that time, 70% of their players were English. And fast forward to today, only 30% are English. But those 30% that are English, playing in the Premier League, earn 4,500% more than they did back in 1996. It's resulted in a massive improvement in the compensation those players have received. And again, I'm not sure that anybody has a perfect answer to how you balance those interests, but I know this. One of the things that I believe in is I believe that if I can grow this game, that our players can do better financially. And I'm someone who played the game a long time, and went on. And I wish I could have made more money during my playing career. So I have to find a way to work with the players on a solution, and that's what I'm committed to. But you have to first of all create the opportunity. You can't talk about a solution if you don't have the problem. The nice thing is today, the problem we've created is that we now have an opportunity for players from the international communities to come and play here. So good. So we created a problem. Now we just have to work together to find a solution.
Mr. Rosie. Mr. Ambrosi, got a question for you. Canadian ratio problem is the problem. You said you got a problem. That's the problem. And when you're asked about how's the Mexican, the European, how's it going to work within the ratio in the roster spot, like that's the problem right there. The Canadian ratio is a problem. What are you going to do? Make another Mexican, European, guaranteed Canadian ratio spot or roster spot in the CFL team? You got to get rid of the Canadian starter ratio. You got to get rid of the Canadian ratio. It's old school. It doesn't work in today's professional sports world. You got to get rid of it. You got all these contradictions here, and the big problem is the Canadian ratio. It's the problem. That's got to go. And you're talking, like two sides of your face here, like I said before.
Why would anyone think we should take a backseat to
Our time to shine. Well, you talked about, oh, we never want to be looked at as a feeder league. Well, you are, because of the one-year contracts and the NFL window that's back that you created, Mr. Ambrosi, on your watch, and made it worse. Look at all top CFL players go in the NFL more than ever before. And you made a lot of contradictions here. We only got a few minutes here left. A lot of contradictions, and you know, you talk about the Super Bowl, 3-3 at halftime. Okay, what about all the 2-and-outs and too many CFL games with most of the points for field goals, and even worse, too many undesirable second down stops, Mr. Ambrosi, in the red zone, okay? Resulting in more distasteful, non-eventful, okay, predictable, boring, easy chip shot field goals that no football fan wants to see, especially in a 3-down football game, that my CFL red zone rule will eliminate completely. So, yeah, another contradiction, you know, you got major problems with our CFL 3-down game, okay? And the Canadian ratio is a huge problem, and what I spoke about in the red zone, the problem in the red zone with my CFL red zone rule will resolve and eliminate completely is the other big problem. Eliminate those big problems and the other suggestions they made in the 6 fix, and then you got a product to sell. And so, Ambrosi, before I sign out, I just want to say that, you know, what you're saying is all contradictions, okay? Because the CFL is a feeder league. The CFL does have a big-time problem, and that's the Canadian ratio, as you know. It's a huge problem, okay? So I'm going to sign off, okay? I just want you to look at now what I did with the set. It's unbelievable. Okay, Spyder's proposed new CFL Red Zone rule. My new hats, Spyder CFL Red Zone hats that Mr. Armich will like. So don't forget, chant, uh-oh, it went off. Can't get it. We lost it. Chant loud in the red zone. Okay, we can't get it, but chant loud in the red zone. We want Spyder CFL Red